let's look at how to operate dbt projects on Snowflake. This quick start has a step-by-step guide for the same. We'll go into the Snowflake UI and see what those dbt operations are and how to run those. Now, the dbt projects are operated in a new IDE experience called workspaces inside the Snowsight UI. The workspaces are far more richer than the previous development experience in Snowsight. Here you can operate on folders and files like a typical developer IDE experience. You can edit the files, run that code, see the results, and so on. You can look at the worksheets that you have been working on, which has the code. Then if you want to see the database objects, there is a database explorer in the bottom pane here, in the middle pane. On the right side, you also have the code sheets, the worksheets that you want to operate on. You can see the results in a table form or a chart form. And at the bottom pane, you can see the query history, the output of running certain dbt pipelines, and the DAG which the dbt projects have created. So a lot more things to look at and work on side by side. The Snowsight UI is still available from the leftmost pane, so you can directly jump into one of those menu items if you require. So as you can see, it is far more richer and advanced development experience. Now for dbt, what we have done here is we have pulled a code from a Git repo. You can actually pull code from a Git repository by specifying a URL, providing an API integration where you specify the URL and an access token as required. In this case, we are operating on a public repository. Once you pull in the code, you can see that all those folders and files are available here. You can actually also see the changes as you operate on those files and pull and push the changes. In this case, it's a public repo, so we are not going to push any code changes. Now, when it comes to dbt projects, you have a number of commands available to operate on. You'll notice few things here. For example, a project name, which is basically the root folder name here. There are a couple of profiles available, dev and prod. This is very useful as a development practice that you can work on a particular environment and then deploy the same thing in a different environment. We'll see where these settings are specified in case of dbt project. So for example, we have this dbt project.yaml file which specifies the paths for different objects inside dbt. You also have this profiles.yaml file which explains or defines what the dev environment is, what the prod environment is. Now in this case, we are operating inside Snowflake, so we don't have to specify certain settings like the account name and username, which will otherwise be required if you're operating outside of Snowflake in dbt core. Then you have a number of dbt commands available here to perform those operations. For example, the deps pulls in a package dependency requirement for the dbt projects. So here, if you look at package.yaml, it specifies those package dependencies. When we run the deps command, we will pull those dependencies into Snowflake. And we pick it up from a particular API endpoint, which we have defined here as dbt access integration. You can create those external access endpoints in Snowflake using the external access capability. We have already done that here. So that's about the deps command.